1. The dry van. The dry van is the default trailer in American trucking, a sealed rectangular box, 53 feet long, 8.5 feet wide, 9 feet of interior height, with 2 rear swing doors and nothing else. No temperature control, no side access, no special engineering, just a box on wheels, and that's exactly why it dominates. The dry van hauls anything that fits on a pallet and doesn't need refrigeration: packaged food, electronics, furniture, clothing, paper goods, auto parts. Roughly 70% of all truckload freight in this country moves inside a dry van. There are over 6 million of them operating on American roads right now. Loading is simple. The trailer backs up to a dock, the doors swing open, and forklifts move pallets in and out. A new 53-foot dry van runs between $30,000 and $45,000. It's not specialized, it's not exciting, it's the single most important trailer in the American supply chain, and nothing else comes close. 2. The refrigerated trailer, Reefer. Take a dry van and bolt a diesel-powered refrigeration unit to the front. That's a reefer. The unit controls interior temperature anywhere from positive 65 degrees down to minus 20 Fahrenheit. It runs independently from the truck's engine. Its own fuel tank, its own compressor, its own controls. It doesn't shut off when the truck parks. It doesn't stop when the driver sleeps. It runs 24 hours a day. Some reefers split the interior into 2 or 3 separate temperature zones. One trailer carries fresh produce, dairy, and frozen meat on the same load. The real engineering battle is recovery. Every time the rear doors open at a delivery stop, warm air floods in, and the unit fights to pull the temperature back down before the cargo is compromised. A new reefer costs $55,000 to $80,000, and the refrigeration unit adds another $30,000 on top. That onboard diesel unit burns 15 to 20 gallons a day just to keep the box cold. Expensive to run, impossible to replace. 3. The flatbed. Some cargo doesn't fit inside a box. The flatbed is an open steel or aluminum deck, 48 to 53 feet long, about 5 feet off the ground, with no walls, no roof, and no enclosure. Accessible from every direction. Cranes load it from above. Forklifts approach from the side. Equipment rolls on from the rear. Structural steel, lumber, concrete pipe, roofing materials, prefabricated building sections. Anything too tall, too wide, or too awkward for an enclosed trailer rides on a flatbed. Payload maxes out around 48,000 pounds. Every load is secured with chains, binders, and straps under FMCSA regulations that specify the exact number, placement, and working load limits of every tie-down. An improperly secured steel coil at 65 miles per hour isn't a paperwork issue. It's a fatality waiting to happen. Flatbed drivers earn more than dry van drivers for a reason. The work is harder, the risk is higher, and load securement happens outside in every weather condition imaginable. 4. The step deck. Drop deck. The standard flatbed's deck sits 5 feet off the ground. With a legal height limit of 13 feet 6 inches, that leaves only 8.5 feet for the cargo. Tall equipment hits the limit fast. The step deck solves it with 2 levels. A short upper deck at standard flatbed height runs from the front near the tractor. Behind it, the main deck drops down to roughly 3.5 feet off the ground. That extra 1.5 feet of clearance is often the difference between a legal load and a load that needs an oversized permit. Large generators, tall industrial machinery, construction equipment with high profiles, all of it rides on a step deck when a standard flatbed can't keep the load under legal height. Payload capacity matches a regular flatbed at 48,000 pounds. The difference is entirely vertical. You can spot a step deck on the highway instantly, front section riding high, rear running lower, with a visible drop between the 2 levels. 5. The Lowboy, double drop. When the cargo is too heavy and too tall for a step deck, the Lowboy takes over. The main deck drops all the way down to about 18 inches off the pavement. 2 vertical drops in the frame make that possible. One behind the gooseneck at the front, one before the rear axle group. That ultra-low ride height keeps massive machines within legal limits. An excavator that would stand 14 feet tall on a standard flatbed sits around 10 feet on a Lowboy. Capacity ranges from 40 to 80 tons depending on axle configuration. Most Lowboys have a detachable gooseneck. The entire front section disconnects so equipment drives straight onto the deck from the front. No crane needed, no ramping over the rear axles. Bulldozers, mining trucks, large excavators, military vehicles. If it's the heaviest piece of iron on the job site, it travels on a Lowboy to get there. A new one costs $50,000 to $150,000 depending on tonnage rating. 6. The extendable flatbed standard trailers cap out at 53 feet. Some cargo is longer than that. The extendable flatbed uses a telescoping rear section that slides out to stretch the deck, commonly to 80 feet, sometimes beyond 100 on specialized versions. Wind turbine blades were a major driver of demand for these trailers. Bridge beams, long pipeline sections, structural columns, utility poles, When the cargo's critical dimension is length, this is the only option. But stretching the deck changes everything about how the rig handles. Turning radius increases dramatically. The trailer's rear swings wide through every corner. Low bridges, tight intersections, and short highway ramps become real obstacles. Most extended loads need pilot cars, special permits, and pre-surveyed routes before the truck moves an inch. The extendable flatbed isn't something you see every day. It's a specialist tool for a specialist problem. But when you need 80 feet of deck, nothing else in the industry can do it. 7. The liquid tanker liquid doesn't stack. It doesn't palletize. It doesn't sit on a flatbed. The liquid tanker is a sealed cylindrical or elliptical tank, aluminum or stainless steel, holding 5,000 to 11,500 gallons across multiple internal compartments. Different fuel grades ride in the same trailer without mixing because each compartment seals independently. The real challenge is physics. Liquid moves inside the tank every time the driver brakes, turns, or accelerates. That shifting mass is called surge. During hard braking, thousands of gallons push forward and change the truck's center of gravity in real time. Internal baffles reduce the movement but can't eliminate it. Tanker drivers need a separate CDL endorsement specifically because of these handling dynamics. Beyond fuel, tankers carry milk, water, chemicals, liquid food products, and industrial acids. Each commodity requires different tank materials, different interior linings, and complete decontamination between incompatible loads. The cargo fights you every mile. That's not an exaggeration. It's why tanker work pays a premium. 8. The pneumatic tanker. Dry bulk. Not every tanker carries liquid. The pneumatic tanker hauls dry bulk materials and uses pressurized air to unload them. Flour, cement powder, sugar, plastic pellets, sand, fly ash, all of it rides inside a sealed cylindrical or V-shaped tank. At the delivery point, a compressor pressurizes the interior and blows the dry material through discharge hoses directly into storage silos or processing equipment. No manual handling, no exposure to moisture or outside air. The cargo moves like a liquid under pressure even though it's a solid. Flour mills, cement batch plants, plastic manufacturers, and chemical processors all receive materials this way. You can spot a pneumatic tanker on the highway by its rounder, narrower profile compared to a liquid tanker, plus visible discharge piping and hose connections along the underside. Payload varies by material density, but a standard unit carries 25 to 30 tons per load. Niche trailer, but the industries it serves don't function without it. 9. The hopper bottom. The hopper bottom uses gravity instead of air pressure. It's an enclosed trailer with steeply angled interior walls that funnel bulk material down to discharge gates at the bottom. Open the gates and gravity pulls the load straight out. No pumps, no compressors, no pressurized systems. Grain, fertilizer, sand, feed, plastic resin, seed, all of it moves in hopper bottoms. This trailer is fundamental to American agriculture. Grain elevators, feed mills, and fertilizer distributors depend on hopper bottoms entirely. The sloped floor design ensures complete discharge without material piling up in dead spots or corners. The choice between a hopper bottom and a pneumatic tanker comes down to the receiving facility. If the destination has a pneumatic inlet and silo, you send a pneumatic tanker. If it has a ground-level pit, a hopper bottom dumps by gravity. The cargo can be identical. The trailer depends on where it's going and how the other end unloads it. 10. The end dump trailer. The end dump does exactly what the name says. The entire trailer body tilts backward on a hydraulic hoist and dumps the load out the rear gate. Sand, gravel, crushed stone, demolition debris, asphalt millings, topsoil, fill dirt. A standard semi-end dump holds 20 to 25 cubic yards with payloads between 40,000 and 55,000 pounds, depending on axle configuration and state weight laws. The hydraulic hoist raises the front of the body past 50 degrees and gravity handles the rest. Unloading takes under a minute. That speed is the end dump's biggest weapon. On construction sites and aggregate yards where turnaround time is money, end dumps cycle between the loading point and dump site as fast as the trucks can move. One limitation worth knowing: the trailer has to be on level ground to dump safely. Raise a fully loaded body on a slope and the entire rig tips sideways. It happens more than the industry likes to admit. 11. The belly dump, bottom dump. The belly dump doesn't tilt. It opens gates along the bottom of the trailer and drops material in a continuous strip as the truck drives forward. That's the critical difference from an end dump. The belly dump places material in a controlled windrow instead of a pile. Road construction crews use them constantly. The truck rolls forward at low speed, bottom gates open, and aggregate or base material drops in a long, even line across the road surface. Graders and compactors follow right behind to spread and compress it. Payload matches an end dump, 20 to 25 cubic yards, but the delivery method is completely different and far more efficient for linear work like highway building. The truck never stops during the dump. No need to raise the body. No tipping risk. The belly dump shows up less often than the end dump, but on highway construction projects where material has to be placed in a line and not dropped in a heap, it's irreplaceable. 12. The side dump. The side dump tilts the entire body to one side and drops the load laterally, left or right. The operator picks the direction from the cab. A full side dump unloads in about 15 seconds. That's significantly faster than the 45 to 60 seconds an end dump needs to raise and lower. On high-volume jobs where dozens of trucks cycle through the same point every hour, that time difference adds up fast. Side dumps are common on large mining operations, major highway projects, and aggregate processing sites. The lateral dump also means the truck doesn't need to back into position. It pulls alongside the dump zone and tips. No backing, no spotter, fewer accidents, faster cycle times. Payload matches other dump configurations at 40,000 to 55,000 pounds. The side dump doesn't get a lot of attention outside the industry, but on big earth-moving jobs where speed and volume are everything, it's the most efficient dump trailer on the site. 13. The transfer dump. The transfer dump is a capacity multiplier. It's a standard dump truck towing a separate pup trailer behind it. Both carry their own load. At the dump site, the pup's load transfers into the lead truck's body, by conveyor, by tilting the pup forward, or by a moving floor system. And the lead truck dumps the combined payload. Result: one dump point handles roughly double the material of a standard end dump. A typical transfer combination carries 60,000 to 75,000 pounds or more, depending on axle count and state limits. Transfer dumps are especially common in the western U.S., where longer combination vehicles are legal on certain highways. Rock quarries, large earth-moving projects, and highway jobs use them to maximize tonnage per trip. Fewer trips between the pit and the dump site means lower cost per ton. The transfer dump exists for one simple reason: to move more material per cycle than any single-body truck can handle on its own. 14. The logging trailer. The logging trailer hauls raw timber from the forest to the sawmill. It's not an enclosed box or a flat deck. It's a skeletal frame with vertical steel bunks, upright posts that hold logs in place with chains and binders. No walls, no floor panels, just bunks and rigging holding thousands of pounds of raw timber. A fully loaded log trailer carries 40,000 to 80,000 pounds depending on the state and permit class. The Pacific Northwest and the Southeast, America's biggest timber regions, are where most of these trailers run. The roads they travel aren't highways. They're narrow mountain grades, unpaved forest tracks, and soft shoulders that would break a standard trailer apart. Many logging rigs use off-highway configurations with extra axles and reinforced frames built for the terrain. Logging is seasonal, physical, and consistently ranked among the most dangerous driving jobs in the country. Tight curves, steep grades, massive loads, and questionable road surfaces. Every trip pushes the equipment to its limit. 15. The car carrier. Auto transport. Every new car on every dealership lot arrived on one of these. The standard open auto transport uses hydraulically adjustable decks and ramps to carry 7 to 10 vehicles across 2 levels. The upper deck extends forward over the tractor cab to squeeze in maximum vehicle count. Loading sequence isn't random. It's worked backward from the delivery route. The last car delivered loads first in the most accessible spot. The first delivery loads in the hardest position. Each vehicle is strapped and chained at all 4 wheels. A fully loaded carrier hauls over $500,000 in cargo, with zero enclosure and zero weather protection. Enclosed carriers exist too. They move high-value exotics and collector cars at premium rates. Over 75% of new vehicles in the U.S. reach dealerships by truck, not rail. Car carrier drivers solve a spatial puzzle at every stop, fitting maximum vehicles within legal height and weight limits while keeping the delivery sequence intact. 16. The livestock trailer. Livestock trailers carry living cargo, and that changes everything about the design. Ventilation systems maintain airflow without creating drafts that stress the animals. Floors are solid with built-in drainage. Divider gates separate animals into groups to prevent injury during transport. Ramps are designed around how each species naturally moves. Cattle, hogs, sheep, and horses all require different configurations, different space, different ventilation, different floor surfaces, different gate setups. A hog trailer built for pen loading is a completely different rig than a horse trailer designed for individual stalls. Federal regulations add another layer: mandatory rest periods, food and water requirements, maximum transport times. Livestock haulers have a reputation for driving hard and fast, and there's a reason. Time on the road directly affects animal welfare and meat quality. The livestock trailer is one of the oldest specialized trailer types in American trucking, and one of the least changed because the biology it serves hasn't changed either. 17. The container chassis. The container chassis isn't a traditional trailer. It's a bare steel frame, a spine with axles, and a twist-lock system built to carry 20-foot or 40-foot intermodal shipping containers. The container locks down at 4 corner casting points, a quarter turn on each twist lock, and the box is secured against any movement. The driver backs under a container that's been positioned by a port crane or yard straddle carrier, engages the locks, and the container becomes a road-legal trailer. Nobody opens the doors. The cargo is packed at the origin, sometimes on another continent, and stays sealed until it reaches the final warehouse. A box that left a factory in China, crossed the Pacific on a ship, and got lifted off at Long Beach can reach a distribution center in Chicago without a single person touching the freight inside. That's the whole point. The container chassis connects ocean freight to road freight in one seamless move. 18. The Curtain Sider, Conestoga. The Curtain Sider gives you dry van protection with full side access. Instead of rigid walls, heavy-duty fabric curtains run on overhead tracks along both sides. Slide them open and the entire trailer length is exposed. Forklifts approach from either side at any point along the deck. No dock needed. No sequencing cargo around a single rear door. In America, the Conestoga is the more common variant. A flatbed with a retractable accordion-style tarping system that slides forward and backward. Open it up and you've got full 360-degree access like a flatbed. Close it and the cargo has complete weather protection like an enclosed trailer. Traditional European-style curtain siders are less common here, but the Conestoga has gained serious traction because it solves a real problem. How do you load like a flatbed but protect like a dry van? Both designs cut loading and unloading time dramatically compared to rear door-only trailers. For shippers who need flexibility and protection at the same time, this is the answer. 19. The roll-off trailer. The roll-off trailer carries large open-top containers, the dumpsters you see on construction sites and demolition jobs. The trailer uses a hydraulic hook lift or cable system to load and unload containers by itself. No crane, no forklift. The driver pulls up, engages the hydraulics, and the container rolls onto the trailer deck on built-in rollers. At the drop site, the process reverses. One truck can service multiple containers in a single day. Drop an empty, pick up a full one, haul it to the disposal facility, cycle back. Demolition waste, scrap metal, recycling, construction debris. All of it moves through roll-off systems. The trailer isn't built for long-haul freight. It's built for high-frequency cycling between job sites and processing facilities. Short distances, constant rotation, maximum container swaps per shift. It's one of the most underappreciated trailers in the industry. Simple concept, relentless demand, and absolutely essential to the waste management and construction sectors. 20. The doubles and triples. A doubles combination is two 28-foot trailers connected behind a single tractor. Triples add a third. These shorter trailers are the backbone of LTL freight, less than truckload, where shipments from multiple shippers share space on the same trailer. FedEx, UPS, Old Dominion, XPO, they run thousands of doubles every night between sorting terminals. The 28-foot pup trailers get loaded at one hub, coupled in pairs, and hauled overnight to the next hub where they're split and rerouted. The advantage is flexibility. Each trailer routes independently once it's uncoupled at the destination. Triples are legal in about 18 states, mostly in the western U.S., where highway infrastructure and lower traffic density support longer combinations. Handling doubles at highway speed takes real skill. Every steering input and crosswind amplifies through the connection points. On a triples rig, the last trailer reacts to everything the lead tractor does, but delayed and exaggerated. It takes experienced hands to keep that setup stable. 21. The heavy haul, multi-axle platform. When the load breaks every standard trailer's limits, the heavy haul platform shows up. These are custom-engineered trailers with 9, 13, or more axles designed to spread extreme weight across the road surface and stay within bridge load ratings. Bridge sections, power plant turbines, refinery columns, industrial transformers, loads that weigh 100,000 to over 500,000 pounds. Every heavy haul move needs permits from each state on the route. Pilot cars run ahead and behind with flashing lights and oversized load signs. Some moves need police escorts, utility crews raising power lines, and temporary road closures. Steerable rear axles let the trailer navigate turns that a rigid frame physically can't make. Route planning takes days or weeks. Every bridge, overpass, and intersection gets evaluated before the load moves. A single heavy haul transport costs $15,000 to over $250,000 depending on distance and weight. It's the most complex, most regulated, and most expensive operation in American trucking. Nothing else in the industry comes close.